Hello and welcome back to Fallout 76. Today we are going to have a look at the combat rifle. This is a combat rifle that I picked up in a player vendor quite a while ago. It was just so cheap I couldn't pass it up. Anti-armor with 50% extra critical damage, that's a really good combination even though there is no third star. And even though it's not a fixer, I just decided to pick it up and then I put it in my stash, and it's probably been close to a year and it hasn't been used at all. And that's kind of the issue with a combat rifle in general. Once you get your hands on a fixer plan, there really isn't much reason, other than having, say, a god roll fall into your lap, there just isn't much reason to use a combat rifle. If you compare the stats, and I'm going to put them up on the screen, for a fixer that's modded exactly the same way as the combat rifle, you can see the fixer, now it is modded the same way, and I'm fully spec'd out. So this is not base damage, this is actually damage as you would actually use the gun. You can see the fixer does 20% more damage, and it actually weighs quite a bit less. What is that, 4 pounds less? And what's not in the card is the fixer gives you a stealth bonus as well. So the combat rifle, it looks the same, it feels the same, and the only differences favor the fixer. So it's in kind of a weird spot. So the question is, just because the fixer is better, does that mean the combat rifle isn't any good? Well, let's find out. So just a quick look at the build. I've got all the commando cards maxed out along with Tank Killer. I have Tenderizer, Covert Operative, Mr. Sandman, although it should be light outside, so that won't do anything. This is a critical build, so I have better criticals and critical savvy maxed out. I also have follow through maxed out for that extra critical or extra sneak damage. I also have Eagle Eyes for extra critical damage, and I'm using Blight Soup for extra critical damage. All right, let's see what we could do. Torso shots. Yeah, the problem with shooting that guy is it's so easy for him. He takes one step, and all of a sudden he is out of VATS range. So we'll just ignore him and move on to this guy and his dog. Yeah, you would actually never know, at least I wouldn't, if you didn't know that you were using a combat rifle. I think for the most part you wouldn't actually know that you weren't using a fixer, just because the especially with criticals, the damage is really good, and a 14% or what is it, 20% difference in damage. Oh, now I'm in danger. But a 20% different damage that the fixer gives you. I'm having some trouble here. Let's see here. There we go. Oh, I got 2 of them. Didn't even realize it. But I'm no longer hidden. Yeah, the VATS accuracy I find of just the combat rifle and fixer just in general isn't spectacular. So I'd almost rather have VATS hit chance on this weapon, I think. I hear a dog. He saw me. I didn't see him. Yeah, my sneaking isn't going so well right now. Normally I don't have any kind of issue here, but today is not that day. And I just realized why. I did not have sneak equipped. I had Born Survivor. I sometimes swap that in when I'm doing events like Test Your Metal. I'll swap out sneak and swap in Born Survivor, and that's what happened here. So I wasn't running sneak, and that's why I wasn't very sneaky. Hopefully things can go a bit smoother from here on out. Let's do a leg, since we can't really get a good shot on the head. But yeah, I really wouldn't notice. Invisible barrier, I like that. I really wouldn't notice the difference between the two, honestly. I mean, they sound the same, and even though the fixer does 20% more damage, that's 20% on the card. And with critical hits, that kind of evens things out quite a bit. Now, more than likely, I think a god roll combat rifle is going to be a bit tougher to come by. Just because, because of the fixer, you're just not going to spend modules. You're not going to say, I'm going to roll a bunch of combat rifles, most likely anyway. You're going to get your hands on a fixer plan, and combat rifles, mainly their function is to scrap to learn mods for the fixer. So to get your hands on one of these that's a god roll, it's probably going to be either something that existed before the fixer was introduced into the game, or just a random drop from a legendary enemy or as an event reward. But based on the damage that I'm seeing with Blood Eagles always get in the way here. Mirelurk Deep Keen, but you can see the damage is perfectly fine. Does really well. Let's see. Let's find the tank. Okay, what are we gonna see? Okay, big cluster of enemies. There we go. He goes down really easily. Nice damage all the way around. But based on the damage I'm seeing right now, like if I happen to have one fall into my lap, like a really good 3-star, like a quad, faster fire rate, reduced AP, something like that, I would totally use the combat rifle over. I mean, I don't have that exact roll in a fixer, so, but you can see I'm melting the Mirelurk Queen for the most part. Not melting, but, well, okay. She's saying the same thing about me. Well, that ranged attack she's got is pretty brutal, but you can see Mylar Queen went down, not a problem. All right, let's get a follow through and tenderizer going. I would say for the most part, though, does it matter that this isn't a fixer? Not really. I honestly don't think you would notice the difference one way or the other. If someone gave you a combat rifle and, you know, renamed it the Fixer and you had no way to name it back, you would never know the difference, I don't think. And there you have it, the combat rifle. It's just like the Fixer, it just does a little less damage and weighs a little more. But other than that, you probably wouldn't notice the difference. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit one of the buttons down below, and I hope you'll join me in the next one. Thank you very much.